Hello, my name is Lloyd Woods, and I am here to talk with you today about dowsing rods. Maybe the first thing I should do is start talking a little bit about myself so you can get an understanding of where I'm coming from. For about 15 years, I've been a Reiki master. Been doing various sessions over that period of time, but I had also started to use a lot of different tools. Things like singing bowls, crystals, drums, wands, all kinds of different things. But one of the other things that I've been using is dowsing rods. Very unique tool, something that we can use to actually get answers from spirit, or as some people would say, from their higher self. I also like to use them as a development tool so you can start to understand what it is that you're getting or feeling every time that these things go into a yes or no position. So just to give you an idea of the types of things that you can do with this, I'm going to be connecting with these rods and saying, show me what yes looks like. Thank you. Show me what no looks like. Thank you. Show me I will not answer. I do this one primarily because sometimes Spirit says we got to figure this out for ourselves, or we're asking questions for things that we really shouldn't be asking for, anyways. And show me rephrase the question. Thank you. So from this, we can do yes, no, all kinds of different types of questions that you might have. Some of the other things that you can do is say if this is fully closed and this is fully open, show me how open my heart chakra is. Okay, so now we can actually say, okay, it's about 60%. But if I were to start thinking about somebody I really love, you can see how that whole energy center starts to change. So we can do different things like workshops to see how open our chakras are, how big our energy field is, how we respond to different things that are being said to us or shown to us, or things that we think about. Okay, so now we've talked a little bit about what you can accomplish with these dowsing rods. Let's talk a little bit about what you need to do to prepare yourself for them. One of the basic things that you need to consider is what state are you in? Are you going to ask questions of these rods that are going to have you so connected to the response that you're not going to be able to accept whether it is a yes or a no, especially if it's the answer that you're not looking for. So basically, we have to practice things like non-attachment. Am I good with these things saying yes when I want them to be no? Are you good with the answer if it says no when you're expecting a yes? It's one of those things, the more you're attached to the outcome, the more it's going to give you a little bit of a skewing of what the truth is. So, first things first, ground yourself. Just allow yourself to take a couple of deep breaths in, let out whatever negative stuff that you might be holding on to. As some people say, breathe in the butterflies, breathe out the dragons. Breathe out all the anxiety and fear and so on, and just have to be good with whatever answer that you get. And sometimes that is the more difficult thing to do, but it's the best thing that we can possibly do to get a truthful answer. The other thing that we can think about is how do we clear the energy out of these things? Over the years, I found that the more that we clear the energy out of the tools that we're working with, the more that they're going to be able to do for you. So, How do we clear the energy out of these things? Well, one of the simple things that I like to do is to use a piece of selenite. Just set them on the selenite, let it sit for a couple of hours. Usually these things work very quickly, but if you're not sure, you can use your dowsing rods to actually say, am I clear or do I need clearing? Which is very simply, if this is fully loaded with negative energy and this is fully clear, how clear are the dowsing rods that I'm holding? So that's pretty good. Good enough to work with. It's about 95%. The other things that you can do is you can say prayers over them. You can smudge them with some sage or some of the favorite things that you might be smudging with. Sometimes it's frankincense, copal, depending on where you're from and what kinds of things that you use in your daily practice. Other things that we can do, pyramids. Pyramids are a very good tool for clearing the energy out of devices as well. So once you have determined that you are fully clear, allow yourself to hold the rods perfectly level to the ground, because if you don't, you're going to be fighting gravity. So when we're first learning, we want to make sure that we're making it as easy for ourselves as we possibly can. So just hold them level to the ground, and sometimes it helps to have in your mindset what is yes and what is no. But if you're like me, you will just say, okay, show me whatever position it is, but show me what yes looks like. And that is the yes. And don't forget to say thank you. Show me what no looks like. Thank you. And like I said before, I also like to say, show me, I will not answer. Now I'm working very hard not to move my hands around, so that this is just purely the movement of the energy. And show me rephrase the question. Thank you. Got a little ahead of me there for a second. But anyways, that's how you basically do it. When I first started working with them, it took me about 4 hours of continuous working with these things to get them to do it. And one of the hardest things that I found was I would sit there, I would go, come on, work, work, work. And oddly enough, my energy was so scattered that it just wouldn't do it. So you have to be very calm. You just calmly expect it to do its job. All right, so now that we've actually gone over a little bit about what kinds of things we need to do to prepare ourselves and to the rods, I'd like to explain a little bit of what I've done with these rods. There are many different types of rods that are out there. Some of them are huge, some of them are long, some of them are short. I felt that these were just basically the right length and the right weight. So I've used some wire and I have twisted it together for the additional strength, but also the twisting of the wire helps to channel the energy. Everything that has been put into this has been for the benefit of the energy transfer. That's why we have copper handles. That's why we use copper rods. Copper is used all over the place for all kinds of electrical connections, and for a very good reason. It transfers energy, and that's why I've chosen to use these. The ends are actually basically just small wooden beads that I've made a little bit wider to accept the wire, so we can just make sure that it's all held together. Handcrafted and 100% made in Canada. So we've gone over a couple of different things, and there's just a couple of other things that I would like to mention here. The more you are comfortable with who you are, the more it's going to work. So being confident, now, not saying that you're going to be able to pick these up and make them twirl around like crazy when the first couple of minutes. Although I have seen a couple people do that, especially at different trade shows and workshops that I've done in the past. But, for myself, it took me over 4 hours of working with it. And it was simply because I wanted to see if I could make these things work. And I saw some degrees of limited success. So it's more about being confident and just subtly expecting them to do the job that you're asking them to do. So don't be discouraged if you feel that, it's just not working with you. Just remember, you can't run a marathon by slipping on a pair of sneakers and running shorts. You're going to sometimes need to build up to it. The other thing that I'd like to mention is be aware. Be mindful of what it is that you're feeling. So when you're standing there and asking the question, am I truthful to myself? Pay attention to what you feel just prior to those rods moving. That will give you an indication of what this is doing for you. You can say things like, okay, if you had an argument with your spouse the night before, you can say, what percentage of that argument was my issue? Or what percentage of it was their issue? Just be understanding and just know that when you ask a question, you will get a feeling and the rods will move. What you pay attention to inside your heart or wherever you happen to be feeling it, that is also a signal. Eventually, I believe that all of these are nothing more than training wheels. Training wheels on a bicycle when you first started to learn how to ride a bike. Eventually, you take those training wheels off because you will get to know what those feelings are and what it is, and you're also able to interpret it a little bit differently as well. So, again, it's a wonderful tool, fun to be playing with and so on. Just remember that it was the only acceptable form of witchcraft. Why is that? They found water for the village, and people were kind of happy to have water in the village. You can tune into water. You can tune into your car keys. You can tune into your phone. You can tune into your children, your spouse, or whatever. You're probably seeing this because you bought a pair of these dosing rods, and to that I say thank you very much for doing so and supporting a small business. Keep an eye open for different workshops, different tools. There's a few things that we've got in the planning stages, so just keep an eye open for that. If you have any questions about how to use these or where you can use them and that kind of thing, just give me a shout, and you can see the email at the bottom of this page. Thank you very much. You guys take care.